Hanging out with Chief Outlaw. Let's see if we'll get permission. See if we'll get the permission or not. We need permission.
So we'll let you two come over, but hey, don't come over here.
No, we're not here to heckle.
Disruptive and heckling. And
we're not here to heckle. We're just here to listen to it.
Okay.
All right.
In a second, if it goes sideways,
right,
then we're gonna have to ask you to leave.
Okay.
Okay.
Right on.
All right.
Thank you.
We're good.
Yep.
All right.
Wait, she said you too.
Can 3?
3.
Okay. Thank you. 4. 4. I feel bad for that guy.
3.
Okay.
You guys stay with us. That was good.
All right, but the second it goes sideways, just remember.
It's not going sideways.
Okay. Good morning.
Come on up a little closer, Chief, if you don't mind.
Look.
You gotta come to us. We got a light here.
All right, are we good this way, or did you want that in the background? Oh, okay.
This is fine.
All right. We're good. DANIELLE-OUTLAW.
This is Chief Outlaw.
Yes. All right, so thank you all for coming. I know it's short notice, but I just want to give you a quick update on what happened, what occurred this morning, and some decisions that were made over the past week. For any additional details, I will be happy to turn it over to Sergeant Burley, but we'll be able to answer a few questions for you after. So last week, this all began, we're here about the Occupy ICE encampment, and we believe that it really got established and started up and running about June 17th, 2018. And last week, for a variety of reasons, the Portland Police Bureau determined that the conditions down here were no longer sustainable for a few reasons. We received, over a period of time, approximately 76 calls for service. Of those, about 41 were dispatch calls, meaning where officers actually responded down here. The remainder of those were handled either over the telephone or by other means for follow-up investigation. We also received at least 13 online complaints regarding the conditions at the camp or behaviors associated to members at the camp that have impacted the safety for livability of people, not just in this immediate area, but in the Swamp waterfront area. A little bit about this area, specifically the street and these roadways. It provides very critical access to the medical facilities that are down here, specifically critical care for cancer patients. Same thing with the need to provide supplies to OHSU down here. And there are multiple medical facilities in the area that call on ambulances and paramedics to transport patients during emergency medical situations. After I brought all of this attention to the mayor, he was fully supportive of moving forward to begin plans to clear the camp, and that was last week. With all of that said, this morning we decided to move ahead with the clearing of the camp, and at approximately 4:15, we brought several officers here to make sure that we had the ability to strategically and methodically move through and clear out the camp in a very safe way for everyone. And it's a good thing because not only did we, because of the posting, I think, it allowed people to self-select and disengage from the camp on their own. So by the time that we arrived here this morning, there were really only about 12 people that we encountered and had to ask to leave the camp. For the most part, everything was done with very little incident. The clearing of the camp itself, there were no arrests made, there were no citations issued, and it was only after the camp was cleared, we are now looking into reports of a use of a baton by one of our officers to pull apart or push apart people that were about to be actively engaged in some sort of physical altercation. We will look further into that. Right now, as far as road closures, Southwest Bancroft Street, Southwest Moody Avenue, and Southwest Lowell Avenue will remain closed for a portion of this morning as the cleanup continues, and we will do our very best to push out that information so those in the area are notified when the roads open and how they can safely get in and out of the area. any questions that I can do my best to answer.
Give us an idea of the nature of the complaints that you got that you decided to bring to the mayor's attention.
Yeah, so, you know, and interestingly enough, a lot of the detail came from what was reported in the media. And we found ourselves going back after to find out, to contact the reporting parties or those who had been deemed victims to get a little bit more information. A lot of information given to us regarding assaults or threats, intimidation, harassment. And then obviously what I didn't mention, but which is a very big issue in there are a lot of biohazard concerns as well. So safety-wise, public safety-wise, not just, you know, when you think about public safety, a lot of folks think about law enforcement, the police side of it, but there's fire hazards in there. There are also biomedical hazards in there. And because of those sorts of complaints, again, we knew we had to get ahead of it before it spiraled out of control.
Chief, did you have a pretty good sense of what you were getting into this morning in terms of how many people were in there and what you should expect, and what were your concerns based on that?
We did. I will say, because of the communication that had been going on between the city and those involved in the demonstration from day one, I think that was very, very helpful with allowing folks to pack up and leave on their own. And then also there was a lot of communication back and forth, and we did everything we could to put people on notice so there were no surprises and there were no allegations of us coming in and they didn't know anything about it, they were unprepared, so on and so forth. So I think that communication really, really helped this come to a really peaceful solution in the end.
And can you tell us about the cleanup? So we just went inside and there's a lot of debris and things still left inside. So can you just tell us, is the city going to be taking care of it? Is it going to be contracted out? And when will it start?
So for the most part, I think it's a little bit after 6 now. So we expect the cleanup in general to begin at around 8 o'clock. And it's done by those contracted out by the individual owners of the properties. Yeah.
Chief, what was your first impression the first time you actually saw the camp? And would you ask the mayor to not let this kind of thing happen for this length of time again?
Well, I leave the politics to the politicians. Obviously, I provide and offer advice based off of the safety element, anything that has to do with our realm. There's so many different entities and stakeholders that contribute to the discussion that's had around these encampments. My thoughts were, I don't even know if it was a word when I walked in there, but there's clearly some unsafe conditions there. And as I stated before, the longer those sorts of conditions exist, the more difficult it is to go in and clear those up in the end. All right, thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
Sergeant Burley? Anything for Sergeant Burley? No?
We'll be sending out a press release with some more information later on today.
Thank you.
Press release to give us more information. That's police chief.